Hello everyone, it's Jama Malmy. Welcome to another scrapbook process video. Today I'm going to be working on this 12 by 12 pocket page. This is going to be the companion, sort of a companion page to this one I created last week. So I apologize for the glare. They have to be in the page protector to show you this cool flip flap on this. So if you missed this layout, I will link it up here in the corner as well as in the description below. So the reason why these are going to be side by side, even though they're not exactly like a two-page layout, is because this is all part of a week vacation that my in-laws spent out here visiting. So I wanted to have the whole week kind of summarized in this one spread. I had some other pictures, but I didn't want them necessarily to have a 12 by 12 layout. So I've got these Pocket Plus pages. They come in the 3 by 4, and I was thinking maybe using the portrait orientation, but decided that I'm going to use the 4 by 6 landscape orientation because I do have a couple of 4 by 6 photos, and then the 3 by 4 photos can also just fit side by side in these. I can use the front and back, and I can also, add some paper and embellishments and create my own pocket cards, which I will be doing. I was inspired by this layout in the Close to My Heart core catalog. I love how they have a 12 by 12 traditional layout next to a pocket page, and that is my inspiration for this. I have done this many times before. I love how they look together, but even though my photos are not necessarily the same colors and the same event, I'm going to tie them together with some similar elements. So I've got this paper, which is what was gutted from the back of this border here, and that's going to be brought over here for the continuous element over here, and then of course the wood grain goes perfectly with these hiking photos. I've also got this stencil that I'm pretty sure I'll use. I love this Explore title. And what's cool about this is you've got the whole word here, and then you layer these other ones under it. So this one makes it look like mountains, this one makes it look like trees, and then we've got some additional trees here that you can add other places on the layout. We've also got this wood grain pattern, some stars, this fun badge, the birch trees with the detail here, some arrows. So I'm really excited to use this stencil. I've been super into stenciling lately, so this one I was really excited about. And then I pulled out a few products that I'm thinking I'm going to use. I've got the wildlife stamp set with matching dies that I've been dying to use. I got this a while ago. I really love all the little animals, but then also these little trees here, and there's Wild Thing, Explore. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use a lot of these elements. And then I've also got this Aurora scrapbooking stamp and die set that has some really fun badges. I've used this many times before. Of course, I will link everything I use down below in case you're interested. I've also got this slimline die. This is a 2-piece die set. It's designed for slimline cards to create a stitch border around it and then to cut some like a wood grain insert. But I'm thinking I'm going to use them for my pocket pages to add some fun detail. As you can see, it'll fit 3 by 4 perfectly. If I put the 3 by 4 photo on here, it is 3 inches wide, so I can create a pocket card with this fun wood grain pattern on it. So I think I'm going to be using that as well. So let's go ahead and get started and see how this comes together. I'm going to start out with my stenciling. So I'm going to put this stencil down and tape off that layer that's below it, just so I don't get any ink accidentally. I end up cutting these out anyway, so it's not a big deal, but it does kind of help keep it in place on the paper. I'm starting with the lightest color first, since I'm using regular dye-based inks. I'm starting with the lightest one, and then the next one is going to overlap it. So first I did Glacier, which is that light blue, and the next layer is the mountains, and I decided to use Toffee. I did also try this with like a medium gray, and that looked good as well, but decided to go with the Toffee because the brown tone looked better with the wood grain paper that I was using on this. Now it does dry back quite a bit lighter than what you see here, so just keep that in mind. It looks kind of dark here, but the Toffee dries back quite a bit lighter. And then this is Pine, which is a new green color. It's really beautiful and perfect for this pine tree layer. Now there is that fourth layer of pine trees. It's just pine trees, and you can use that on the Explorer as well. See, there's the one with the gray. You can use that on the Explorer as well, but I decided that the 3 layers were enough. So I decided that I wanted this card to have the wood grain background. So I cut that wood grain paper to 4x6, and then I used the wood grain pierced die to kind of layer on top of that. And then I'm cutting out all of these Explore letters, and don't worry, you're not gonna watch all of that, but I left just a very tiny border around them and cut those all out. It wasn't too hard. They're pretty easy block letters to cut out. So I like how those look, and I'll just kind of overlap them. Then I pulled out the Wander card making set. This came out last year, but it is still available, and it's got this really great mountain that I wanted to use, and also those little trees. And I actually have an extra stamp and die set that I'm going to give away to one of you. So stay till the end and I'll tell you how to enter the giveaway. There are also some other cute little icons, like a little s'more and a campfire and a tent and an RV and a bike, but I'm just using the trees, these 2 sizes of pine trees, and I'm doubling them up on my cardstock. And that way I was able to run 2 through my die cutting machine at once, and I used both sides of the cardstock. So it is pine cardstock, which is the same color that I used on the stencil, and the same color cardstock I have that pierced wood grain white piece backed in as well. So I'm going to stamp the mountain now. Now the mountain does have a coordinating die, so I'm stamping it in Espresso ink, which is a darker brown than the Toffee that we used for the stenciling. And I was thinking I wanted these mountains to be darker. And then I also am going to stamp it in pine. Now I'm stamping onto Kraft cardstock, which you have to remember is very porous. It's more porous than the coated colored cardstocks. And so it does lighten up quite a bit once it dries. Once I ran those through my die cutting machine, I decided I wanted some lighter mountains as well. So I went back to the Toffee, which is the color in the Explore stenciled piece. And then I thought, well, you know what? These are just kind of plain. I wanted to try some rock and roll stamping. I love this technique to kind of just jazz up your stamped images, especially the ones that are more solid like this. So I stamped it in Toffee, which is the lighter color, and then just rolled the edges in pine. And that gives a really fun effect. So I ended up using one of those rock and rolled ones, one just pine stamped one, and one espresso stamped one. So I'll kind of play around with these and decide where I want them. I've got way more mountains here than I need for my project, but I keep a little dish of extra die cuts, and I will definitely be coming back to those for another project. So I really liked the look of that wood grain pattern backing each of those pockets that I'm decorating. And so I cut the other ones to size, and I spaced them so that my photos and those pockets that are going to be decorated are all like evenly spaced around the layout. So your eye kind of just starts at the top where the Explore title is, and then it's drawn down through the layout so that you kind of are naturally guided throughout the layout and see all the pictures. Now this other piece, I really also liked that pierced look from that slimline die that we used. So I added that to each of those little pockets as well. And I wanted to kind of jazz them up a little bit so that you can see that stitching better. So I came back to that Glacier ink that I used in my Explore title, and I'm just using my blending brush to very lightly blend that on, and you can see what a difference that makes. Really makes that stitched detailing stand out. You could add more if you want, and I'm going to do that to each of those other pockets. And decided, yeah, I think I want to add a little bit more to this little pocket as well. Make it a little darker behind those mountains so that they really pop. And now I'm bringing back this stamp set with the animals. It's called the Wildlife. And I think it's just really fun having the just like solid image of the animals, and then they each have a little pattern in them. I'm not one who loves coloring, so I appreciate a stamp set where I don't have to color it in. So I'm going to start with this little deer, and I'm going to stamp him in Toffee ink. And I put my little foam pad that comes with the stamp set underneath because this is such a solid stamp that really helps to get a solid image. And then I thought I would bring in this little bunny. I was looking for images that would look good next to each other on that bottom right card that I'm going to move to next. And I thought these two would look cute, kind of layered up together. But I didn't really like them both being in the same color. And as I stamped the bunny, I thought, you know what, let's go back to that rock and roll technique with the deer. So I stamped it in Toffee ink and then rocked the edges in the Espresso ink, which is that darker brown. And that really helps it come alive and give it more detail. So I'll use the coordinating dies to cut out the rabbit and the deer. And then I think they look really cute over here on this card. There are also some pine tree stamps on this wildlife stamp set. So I thought I would stamp some of those mixed in with those die cuts that I had cut out of the trees just to add a little bit more variation. So I'm going to do that to all of the cards as well. There are a couple of different pine trees, so just adds a little bit of variety. I really love the way that this kind of, custom pocket card is turning out. So if you don't have pocket cards, or maybe you want to start scrapbooking with some pocket pages, but you don't have many pocket cards, you can totally make your own. It's really easy. It's really just like card making or scrapbooking. You just kind of decorate the cards individually, and it's really fun. So I hope that you'll try this if you haven't yet. It's nice to make your own cards. I love using pocket cards as well, and you'll see my little insert page at the end. I'm going to show you how I used pocket cards on that, and also some of the elements here. So this Explore stamp was also on the wildlife stamp set, and I thought it was the perfect size to fit in that little area on the bottom right card. Now at this point, I wasn't paying attention to what the word actually said, because if I was, I would have noticed I already have Explore on the page, duh. But I was just looking at the size of it and how it fit in that space, and I really liked it. So in the end, we are really exploring on this layout. So I end up keeping it, and I'm fine with that. So I'm just inking around the edges to help them pop a little bit. I did back that also in some pine cardstock so that it would stand out a little bit more in that space. And then I brought out my journaling strips. These are a total journaling game changer. They're just sticker strips that you write your journaling on, and then you peel them off and you can stick them on to your scrapbook layout. So I realized I needed some of that real estate on that bottom card for my journaling, and this is so cool. You just snip off where you need it to fit. So this was super, super easy to do. I highly recommend the journaling strips, and I will have them linked down below. Now I'm about to give you a close-up look at all of the cards we created, and in order to enter to win the Wander card making stamp set, I just want you to tell me in the comments below what type of pictures you would use the stamp set on. So leave a comment, let me know. Would you use, hiking pictures like I did, or camping or biking, or there's a little lake on here and s'mores? I am curious what you would use this on. So let's take a quick look at all of the pages we created in this spread. Again, that Go Pods, the Padres layout, is in a previous layout I will link down in the description. Here is my little insert I did off camera, and notice the 3x4 photos. I just butted them up next to each other and put them in the 4x6 pocket. I added that middle pocket with the journaling, made sure I had the wood grain pattern on there as well. And I just really love how this all turned out. If you were inspired by this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I post new scrapbooking videos every week. And if you'd like to see still shots, I have my Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest links in the description below, as well as links to the stamps, stencils, and everything else I used in today's layout. Thanks so much for joining me, and have a wonderful day.